Look closely at the world around you. We talk about freedom, equality, and justice. We vote, debate, and even protest. But beneath all this noise, a quiet question lingers: who truly holds the reins of power? Who benefits while the rest of us toil? Philosophers throughout history have wrestled with this question. One of the sharpest minds to confront it was Aristotle. Yet there's a warning in his work, one we seem to have forgotten in our age of democracy and endless information. Aristotle didn't just fear tyrants or dictators. His deepest concern was a more hidden threat, a form of power that masks itself in respectability and influence, yet controls everything from behind the scenes. This power is known as oligarchy, rule by the few. Today, we'll unpack Aristotle's timeless warning. We'll explore how oligarchy isn't a relic of the past but a living, breathing force in modern society. And most importantly, we'll ask, what does this mean for us? How do we recognize it? And can we reclaim genuine democracy before it's too late? When we think about government, the conversation is often simplified: democracy versus dictatorship, freedom versus oppression. But Aristotle saw a far more complex dance. He described political power as a cycle, a rhythm of rise and fall that repeats through history. Kings become tyrants, nobles become oligarchs, democracies can decay into chaos. The real danger lies not in blatant tyranny, but in the quiet consolidation of power by a small elite oligarchs who rule not with swords but with money, influence, and control over institutions. Unlike tyrants, oligarchs don't need to announce their rule. They hide behind layers of bureaucracy, law, and culture. They shape the system so subtly that most people never realize they are governed by a few. Aristotle called this the corruption of aristocracy, where those who should serve the public good begin to serve only themselves. Fast forward to the present, and oligarchy is not just ancient philosophy, it's our reality. Take corporations. When a company prioritizes profit over people, we don't just see a business failing. We see power structures that echo Aristotle's warnings. Remember when a major airline prioritized cost cutting over safety, leading to tragic crashes? Or when pharmaceutical giants aggressively marketed addictive drugs, fueling public health crises? These are not isolated incidents. They are symptoms of a system where those with wealth can sidestep responsibility and maintain their dominance. The institutions meant to protect us, regulators, lawmakers, courts, often become tools for the powerful. Lobbyists shape legislation, campaign donations buy access. The result? Laws that favor the wealthy and powerful, while ordinary people bear the consequences. This isn't conspiracy, it's a structural problem that has been meticulously studied and documented. The concentration of wealth translates directly into the concentration of political power. If this is true, the next question is, why do so many of us accept or even defend this system? Psychologists have uncovered a profound truth about human nature. We have a deep psychological need to believe the world is fair and just. This is known as system justification. Even when faced with clear evidence of injustice, many people cling to beliefs that justify the status quo. Studies show that people who experience economic hardship often rationalize inequality more strongly than those who are better off. Why? Because admitting the system is broken means admitting they are trapped, and that is psychologically unbearable. We create stories: if they succeeded, I can too, or hard work always pays off. These stories keep us hopeful but can also blind us to systemic problems. This mental trap helps oligarchs maintain their power, not just through wealth but by shaping how we think and feel about our place in society. But psychological acceptance isn't the only tool of oligarchy. Another is division. Aristotle noted that rulers often stay in power by sowing discord among the people they govern. Modern oligarchs have mastered this tactic. Instead of overt oppression, they encourage conflicts between classes, races, political parties, and identities. When the working class fights among itself, wages stay low and power remains concentrated. When the middle class fears those below more than those above, alliances that could challenge inequality fail to form. Media and politics are flooded with polarizing debates that distract from economic realities. Social issues dominate headlines while wealth inequality reaches new heights. This strategy keeps the elite safe. It turns potential allies into adversaries and ensures the system's survival. Why does this matter? Because Aristotle believed the middle class was the backbone of a healthy political community. The middle class is large enough to balance extremes of wealth and poverty. They have enough resources to resist corruption and enough stake in society to care about the common good. But what happens when the middle class shrinks? Today, we see the middle class squeezed by stagnant wages, rising costs, and debt. Wealth is concentrated at the top like never before. Without a robust middle class, society becomes polarized, fragile, and ripe for corruption. Democracy depends on a healthy middle, not just for voting but for sustaining civic life, education, and social trust. We like to think democracy means real choice, but look deeper and the illusion becomes clear. Money influences who runs for office. Media controls what issues are discussed. Algorithms determine what we see and hear. The choices we make are often between pre approved options shaped by interests far removed from ordinary citizens. Voting becomes a ritual that legitimizes oligarchic control rather than challenges it. This is not accidental, it's a refined form of power designed to keep the few in control while appearing open and participatory. Aristotle warned that democracy without virtue is doomed. Laws are important, but they cannot replace the moral fabric that binds society. When citizens value wealth above integrity, fame above service, and personal gain above the common good, democracy decays. Today, we live in a culture that glorifies consumption, individualism, and spectacle. Social media rewards outrage and clicks over reasoned debate. In this environment, virtue, the commitment to justice, honesty, and the welfare of others, struggles to survive. Without virtue, democracy is a hollow shell. Is all hope lost? Aristotle wouldn't think so, and neither should we. He believed in the power of constitutional government rooted in broad participation and civic virtue, what he called polity. So, what might that look like today? First, we need to reclaim political systems from the grip of money. Public campaign financing, transparency, and restrictions on lobbying are critical. Second, economic reforms like progressive taxation and workers' rights can rebalance power and revive the middle class. Third, education must be a priority, not just for jobs, but for cultivating informed, engaged citizens who understand how power works. Fourth, culture must shift to celebrate community service and shared prosperity over individual wealth and celebrity. Change starts with awareness, but it doesn't end there. Your voice matters in conversations, in elections, in your community. Support independent media. Demand accountability from leaders. Get involved locally where decisions still impact your life directly. Build connections across divides rather than reinforcing them. Remember, democracy isn't a spectator sport. It's an ongoing act of creation, renewal, and care. 2.5 millennia after Aristotle's warning, the challenge remains. We face an oligarchy disguised as democracy, a society where power is concentrated yet hidden, but we also hold the potential to change. By recognizing the true nature of power, by challenging division and apathy, by recommitting to virtue and community, we can reshape our future. The question isn't whether oligarchy exists, is what you will do now that you see it. Will you remain a passive observer or become an active participant in rebuilding a society where power serves all, not just a few? The choice is yours.